In the beginning, Marvel created the bullpen and the style. And the bullpen was without form, and darkness was upon the face of the artist. And the spirit of Marvel said, "Let there be the Fantastic Four." And there was the Fantastic Four. And Marvel saw the Fantastic Four, and it was good.
Ideas can never be traced to one source. They are tossed back and forth between people until the decision makers step in and choose what they think is the success formula.
Shout out to CBSI, comicbookinvest.com, for putting together such awesome lists every week. This list is going to be focused on Stan the Man.
Since we do this list every single week, a lot of times we focus on the prices. And for right now, we want to focus on the memory of someone who gave us an absolutely incredible comic book industry, which would not be anywhere near what it would be without Stan Lee's influence, Stan Lee's decisions, and Stan Lee's business acumen. It's absolutely amazing what he has done and what he has created. And the Hot 10 this week is focusing on some of the gifts Stan helped give us.
We're not going to be focusing on prices. Neither did CBSI. We're going to be focusing on his work, and we're going to be focusing on the comics. Let's kick it off with number 10, Russ.
Coming in at number 10, Captain America number 74. This is the first horror story written by Stan Lee.
This is one of my all-time favorite comic book covers that exists.
It's a very, very cool one. And you understand that this is kind of post-World War II. Captain America had been fighting the Nazis for quite some time. And then we're getting into, let's do horror.
That's right. They were going through this transition. And this is actually credited as Stan Lee's first horror story that he wrote.
It's very, very cool.
I didn't even know that till today. So now I got to find this book.
Oh, good luck.
I know, good luck. It's going to cost a pretty penny, though.
You know what? This book was originally 10 cents when it came out.
That's right. That's right. And moving on to number 9 on the list, very important book in comic book history. Fantastic Four, issue number 52. The first Black Panther, the first African-American superhero in comic books.
Stan Lee definitely did a whole lot for bringing characters out that were African-American. Again, we had, Luke Cage, we had Black Panther, all of these other things. And it's nice that especially with the resurgence of Black Panther and the movie that came out last year, that he was able to see some of his ideas come to fruition in the Marvel Cinematic Universe from this.
So going for 12 cents, changing the comic book market forever, introducing a fantastic character that we all know and love.
Number 8, Tales of Suspense, number 39. What Stan Lee list would be complete without Iron Man?
That's right. An arms dealer who has a heart condition, who has to put on a metal suit to fight communism. Awesome.
It's such a cool thing, and it focuses on flawed characters who are looking to redeem themselves, and that seems to be a recurring theme that Stan Lee has in a lot of the things that he helped write.
When he kicked off the Silver Age, he changed the way we looked at superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
He gave them these problems. He made them relatable.
Yes.
And it's those reasons why you have characters like Peter Parker, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and all these other characters that are on this list that he helped co-create.
Absolutely.
Why they became so popular.
Mm-hmm.
Also going for 12 cents.
Number 7, another great team comic.
Avengers Number 1. A comic book that needs no explanation, no introduction, Jack Kirby goodness. A team that would revolutionize the cinematic universe forever.
Avengers Number 1, originally available for 12 cents, which leads us perfectly into number 6, Hulk Number 1. Another one of those that was available for 12 cents.
Hulk, a flawed yet relatable character, as CBSI mentions in their article. And something I found that was pretty interesting, in 1965, Esquire magazine voted not just Peter Parker, but the Hulk as the top 28 most influential campus heroes.
That is very, very cool.
In 1965, changing the culture, turning people on to comic books, influencing college students. This was something that was unheard of with comic books at that time.
Yes, absolutely. Being able to shift from it's a kiddie thing to more young adults are reading it to more adults are reading it. And comic books became more acceptable. And truthfully, Tom, I know we're talking about Hulk, but one of my favorite Stan Lee covers of all time is when he's on the cover of Fantastic Four number 275 with She-Hulk.
Oh, dude,
I've always loved that. And that was like the one thing that if I had gotten an opportunity to go and get it signed, that was the only Stan Lee book. And unfortunately, I did not get that to happen.
It's like full charisma in that cover.
It's a good cover. It is the quintessential Stan Lee on that book.
But what was Stan Lee's first superhero that he created? What comic book was that?
So this one is super, super deep. Number 5, we have Mystic Comics number 6, and it's the first superhero created by Stan Lee. There were 5 stories in here, and Stan wrote a story about the Destroyer. First appearance in Mystic Comics number 6.
Another one of those 10-cent golden age comic books.
With such a super cool, again, big Nazi swastika. And it's very much a wartime comic.
That's right. That's right. And then we have, making the list at number 4, Fantastic Four, issue number 1, the intro to Silver Age comics. Let's take it back a little bit. Let's go back in history real quick. We have Martin Goodwin, the Marvel president at the time. He sees a team up happening over at DC Comics. He gets a little jealous. He goes to Stan and says, hey, comic sales are down. I need you to go and create a team. Go and rip off this team. Go do your own team. Stan didn't want to do it. He's like, I'm tired of this superhero stuff. I mean, it's just not landing. We write the superhero stuff. No one buys it. It's a sinking ship.
Right.
So he goes home to complain to his wife, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
Joan says, Stan, go back and just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Make your own story. Just write what you want to write.
Do it your way. Yeah.
So he goes and gets a guy named Jack. Someone that he says is his most trusted artist, the guy he knows will bring those pages to the table on time, every time.
Yeah.
He gets the king, and he changes comic books forever.
Right. And again, Fantastic Four number 1, an absolute bargain at 10 cents off the rack, right next to your copies of Millie the Model and Kid Cold Outlaw.
That's right. Can you imagine that? I can picture it.
Stan Lee was writing in Millie the Model as well.
For a while.
He wrote a bunch of these titles, and you're like, I'm going to grab this team looks interesting.
What? No costumes, and what they're kind of weird looking. There's this thing on there, and it's just it's unique.
Oh my gosh.
You had to pick it up.
Number 3, X-Men number 1. And again, you've got this team of ostracized children who have mutant powers, and again, this has completely and totally changed the landscape of what comics would be. And we wouldn't have the movies or the TV series or a lot of other these characters that have been created that have superpowers that may have been manifest from different ways. It's very, very interesting. You're not an alien from another planet. This is something that is mutated inside of you. Fantastic. What an amazing story idea. And again, this was paralleling the civil rights movement of that point in time. So it's trying to show that everyone is equal. I mean, it's something we're still having issues with to this day. And with the X-Men, it's like it doesn't matter if you have blue hair or you can skate on ice or if you shoot lasers out of your eyeballs. We're all equal.
That's right.
That's kind of the message they were going with.
He wasn't afraid to do anything.
No,
he was going to push whatever content that his team was creating because he knew it was good.
Absolutely. Even if you have to spend most of the time fighting with your brother, having a helmet on his head.
Another comic book coming in at 12 cents.
God, 12 cents.
It's awesome.
It is.
Go pick them up. Coming in at number 2, we have Stan Lee's first published work. This is another one of those fun stories. Back in time, we got Simon. We got Jack, Jolly Jack.
Mm-hmm.
They're writing, and they're telling this kid, he's like 17.
Right.
He's like, hey, go get me some coffee. Go get the donuts. Stop playing your damn ocarina, Stan. Stan was always playing his damn ocarina, pissing these guys off. Can you believe that? This freaking guy, they bring him in here. But you know what Stan wanted to do? He wanted to write stories, and he was going to do what he had to do. He was an up-and-coming businessman. He was an entrepreneur. He knew he had a goal. So as soon as they had some work for him, he wasn't going to just throw away that experience and toss that opportunity in the garbage.
Yeah.
So he wrote a bunch of pages when he only needed to write a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they included this story without panels in this comic book, Captain America number 3.
Yeah.
And that book went for 10 cents.
That is crazy. But the really interesting thing is that a few years ago, they actually had a Marvel 75th anniversary book. And they reprinted this story that Stan Lee had written for Captain America number 3 back in the 1940s, but they actually did it with art this time. So an amazing capper to this. The first published work Stan Lee had was in Captain America 3 in the 1940s. The last one was in the Marvel 75th anniversary, and it was the same story.
Amazing.
What a beautiful ending.
It
you
is.
know?
And shout out to Nick over at Key Collector for putting those together. I mean, that was a really cool thing to find out. And I really like that book too. Before we move on to number one, we do have a couple editors' picks this time around. We have some members of CBSI who want to share their picks for this very special top 10 list.
For the first of the editor's picks, we actually have Ben C., who is the owner of CBSI. And his choices are a trifecta. We have Amazing Spider-Man 96, 97, 98. And for those of you that don't know, these are the drug issues that the Comics Code Authority wouldn't allow through. And it was, a guy gets high on LSD and dies. And, it's a powerful story. It's really one of those things that if you aren't reading the Spider-Man from that era, it is just mind-blowing. But the fact of the matter was that this was dealing with things that the youths and the people were dealing with at that point in time. And Stan Lee said, this is too important of a story. We have to release it. So those 3 comic books were released without the Comics Code Authority's thumbs up, and they don't have the sticker to this day. And it was a fantastic decision by Stan to basically say, we got to get it out anyway. Just do it.
And those books are priced at 15 cents a piece or 45 cents total.
That's awesome.
All right. And then the next pick here we have from writer Ben Stein, Detective Comics 600, which actually has a poem by Stan Lee about Batman. This is by Stan. As comic fans surely know, superheroes come and go. Today they're hot, tomorrow cold, but some there are that break that mold. There's heroes whose myths are made, whose luster never seems to fade. No evildoer shall escape from him who wears the ebony cape. I refer, of course, to the man whom the world now hails as Batman. Great pick. Thanks, Ben.
Wow, Tom, that's great. It's really nice to see that even though Stan Lee was working for a competing company, that they would have as much mutual respect as they had for each other. And it was very, very nice for him to be able to do that in Detective Comics number 600.
Yeah, for a competitor. And that it just doesn't seem like, if you were to tell me that that was the case, I wouldn't believe you at first, because that's not something you would think. But when it comes down to it, he respected characters and it didn't matter what publisher it was in.
Absolutely. It's good.
Before we move on to number one, we're going to do a giveaway. This is a special giveaway for us. We do have a Stan Lee autograph here that we would like to send out to the community. All we would like to do is ask for you to just comment down below and just put your favorite Stan Lee anything.
Absolutely. Give us a Stan Lee memory. Tell us what your favorite Stan Lee book was. Because again, we know this week has been very, very hard on a lot of people. And the gentleman lived to 95 years old. He had a very full and eventful life, but still, it was definitely a blow to the comic book community. And we all do miss Stan. And again, I want to thank CBSI. I want to thank everyone to be able to let us do this, because this has been a very nice list. It's been great. And again, an autographed Stan Lee photograph. Just make sure you comment down below, like, and subscribe.
We do appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time today. And let's wrap this up with number one, Russ.
Well, I think we all could have guessed this, but number one, Amazing Fantasy 15.
Ditko, Stan the Man, coming together to make one of the most popular characters in American history.
Absolutely. And Stan Lee had to fight so hard because it was coming from Amazing Adult Fantasy, which was kind of a horror-y, weird thing, and they just changed it to Amazing Fantasy 15. You got Spider-Man swinging in on the front, and it is... We've all heard the origin story a million times. With great power comes great responsibility. We know about the radioactive spider, and it just, at this point in time, you don't really think about how many times we've heard that. And you understand that when Stan Lee and Steve Ditko were working on this book and coming up with this idea, I don't think they had any idea how it would turn comic books on their ear. We are here so many years later, and it is still just one of the absolute pinnacles. So again, Stan Lee, thank you so much for bringing this to us. Thank you so much for co-creating such an amazing character, and thank you so much for doing such a fantastic job of propelling the comic book industry to where it is currently.
A 12-cent classic. A grail for everyone who is watching this show. We do appreciate your time. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to have fun talking about comic books. This is definitely a Very special podcast for us. We do appreciate you for listening and being part of the conversation. As always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said. Thank you so much for watching this video. The winner for last week's giveaway is John Tippler. Thank you so much for commenting, John. Make sure to hit the description and contact us so we can get you your comics. And don't forget to comment down below in this video so we can send one lucky person an autographed Stan Lee. We hope you cherish it. We've had it for a long time and we thought it would be best to send it out to the community.